Warning! Fact check us. We're not perfect. Don't listen if you don't like what we say. Some of what we say is opinion, fact, and/or expertise and experience. It can always be challenged. Do your own research before following ours or anyone else's advice. You're the only one responsible for the actions you take. Guidance, advice, direction, and information work differently for everyone based on a wide range of factors. Results will vary, but own your choices. Trigger warning. We say stuff you might not agree with, we might offend you, or say something that goes against your belief systems, or question your personal reality. You've been warned. Go away now if you're easily triggered. Cuss warning. This episode has 17 beeps. Warning, warning. It sucks that we now have to put warnings on everything. What would happen to the human race if we just let lack of common sense prevail and removed all the warning labels?
3, 2, 1. I am really proud to see TikTok's marketing shift. Maybe it's under the threat of a shutdown. I don't know. But now, they're marketing the value of TikTok to small businesses with real stories. So for those of you who haven't seen the ad that's out there right now, they're showcasing different businesses that have found success or supposedly have found success through TikTok. On that platform, because this used to be, for those of you who don't know the history of TikTok, it used to be called Musical.ly. It was a lip syncing thing that kids were on, lip syncing their favorite songs. They rebranded it. I don't particularly know how or why it blew up. I couldn't tell you, but businesses found this place on TikTok, whether it was the evolution of TikTok marketplace or just social media driving it to become TikTok marketplace or something to that effect. And people began to thrive as a business. And good on you, TikTok. I still don't like you. All right, so we are back, and today's entrance song was Boom by P.O.O.D., and I figured that was just a good song because, it's about dropping the boom on people. Dr. Mears, how are you?
I am good. Thank you. How are you, Eric?
I am good. So let's drop the secret to success in marketing from the top. In the modern age of marketing for business, and even if it's small business, remember small business SBA standards, 1 to 500 employees, right? The secret to success in marketing is use it all. Everything you can imagine when it comes to marketing. Now, what is that? First, social media, we all know, big marketing platform, but there's so many different marketing, right? There's so many different social media platforms and channels. You look at Procurement Con, you will find a Procurement Con on every social media that relatively creeps up. I think even though we don't use Snapchat, we have a profile there, right? And that's to secure our brand. But social media isn't the be all of end all. There is OTT, which is over the top or streaming. There is OOH, out of home advertising, which is your billboards and your digital billboards. There's programmatic, which is pushing ads through things like apps and software and websites. So when I say use it all, I also mean earn, share, unpaid, ally partner marketing, and PR. That's all part of it. Public appearances, networking, speaking opportunities. If you can do an exhibition, whatever, it's use it all. So that is the secret. That is really the secret to good marketing, because here's the deal. If your entire business is built on one social media platform, if that social media platform shuts down, like TikTok almost was shut down, you are f***ed. What are your thoughts, Dr. Mears?
Well, I agree, but I disagree. So Here's my position. So there is a lot of stuff out there, right? You listed all these different machinations of everything in different channels, right? And everybody's like, oh, omni-channel. I would argue that is not the secret to success. I would argue, just like an investment portfolio, you do need to diversify. You absolutely cannot make the cardinal sin of all your eggs in one basket. You cannot. But that said, you can't peanut butter yourself either and be like, oh, and I've got this and I've got that, and I'm in here and I'm doing blogging and I'm on Substack and I'm on this and I'm on YouTube and I'm like writing a book and I'm right. It's just that whole thing. I think that's nonsense. That is the secret to exhaustion, burnout, and failure. But you made one really, really important point. Secure your brand. Own the channel in every one of those freaking slots, from the Blue Sky to the Snapchat to the this to the that, but don't use them all. And don't feel pressured to have to do everything, because everybody is touting the same thing. Everybody's a freaking business consultant, a business coach, a this, that. And they're saying, yeah, you need to write a book. Yeah. And you need to have your blog. Yeah. And you need to have your podcast. Yeah. And you need to have your YouTube channel. And you need to be on Instagram. You need to be on Facebook. And you need to be on Twitter. And all this crap. You don't. Pick two and stick with it. And as budget expands, add a third.
Right. And I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly it. I agree that with you. I mean, the point is we are on every social media platform because we want to own our brand name. In the marketing strategy we had in the first couple of years of marketing the brand was flood, because it was just about awareness. It wasn't about anything else. We just wanted our name to be known. We didn't care, just know our name, right? Know that we're here. Here's what our products are. But yes, once we got past that awareness phase of flooding and posting all over social media, and we started adding that programmatic in and that OTT stuff in for our events, we did dial back. We did pick a platform and say, this platform is for this. This platform is for this. I don't really give a shit about those platforms. We'll occasionally throw stuff up there. You know what I mean? And yeah, so 100% agree with you. Find out where your platform is that you're going to do the most, and you can put it on multiple platforms, one or two, or three. But again, different audiences, right? LinkedIn is different from Instagram.
And that's part of the problem too, that all these AI tools, right? And I sound like I'm bashing AI, not at all. Oh my God, right? As a STEMinist, this, that, I appreciate the value. I'm also, as an ethical marketeer and everything else, I look at that and think, oh boy, where is this going? How many social media companies and marketing firms do I know personally that are out of business because of AI and the simplicity and all this, blah, blah, blah. So there's all those pieces to it. But with respect to AI, it's making it so easy, right? Omni-channel solutions. Create one image, or they'll create it for you. They'll create the post and they'll push it out. Okay, great. They've analyzed the algorithm. They know that your audience is mostly on Instagram at 11:30 p.m., so they'll push it out at 11:29 p.m. or whatever. But they're putting the same message out, and it can't be that. The whole point of an omni-channel strategy is diversification, and you can't put the same thing out in multiple places. I do it too because it's economical that way. It's simpler that way, but it's really not the best marketing strategy.
No, it's not. I mean, it has its place, right? I mean, it has its place to deliver a message, the same message across the different platforms, the different channels. It has its place when you're trying to deliver that one singular message to the different audiences. That's, again, the way I see it. But if I really want to push an event, LinkedIn's my space, right? On social media, because that's my audience for business. Those are the people who are going to buy a ticket. If I want to push the podcast, I likely will push it on Instagram and LinkedIn. If I want to push the talk show, we're actually looking at Facebook right now, and we're saying, well, maybe Facebook is just going to be a window to my talk show, right? Like, we're just going to post the link, embed the link, and let them watch it, because we'll get the views on YouTube right through Facebook, because we know that our audience is nowhere. There is nobody on Facebook for us, right? But we need to have a piece of content. And so, yes, every platform is being strategically developed and used in the capacity for that audience we're trying to target, and the purpose of what we're trying to do. Let me say this right now. We do not use AI to create content. We do not use AI to write content. Nothing with AI. What we use AI is a tool. It's an easy tool to look up statistics and data. It's an easy tool to check best times. It's an easy tool to try to find the most up-to-date information that we need. But it's not a tool that's going to make videos for us. Hell no will it ever be a tool to make graphics.
No, I use our graphics illustrator too. She's fabulous. I mean, this is, you need that human touch. I love Jenna.
Well, and I'm glad you say that you need that human touch, because there was a point in there for purpose of time. I was using AI, write this for me. And this was before Hayes really got embedded in doing the content, because she started out as Hazel's our content coordinator, but she started out initially with us as a just posting, scheduling social media. That's where we put her. Now she's my content coordinator, and she's looking out for us. And you've met her already.
She's awesome.
And she knows her business, but she is a master writer. I think if I remember correctly, it's either a degree in English and journalism, or maybe there's 2 other degrees in there and some more letters behind her name. But she's amazing. And, she actually came to me not too long ago because I was busy, and I was like, oh, I'll let AI write this. And I posted, and she's like, no, never again. Never again. Don't you dare. Because there's a human touch, right? There's a human element. And then here's the thing about AI. And here's the thing about all these marketing companies that are using AI, and all these small businesses that are using AI to do your marketing. You are eventually going to get thwarted. The algorithm's going to slap you. Okay. And it's going to know who you are, and it's going to know it's AI, and it's going to affect you in the long run, because there are tools out there being made now to stop the onslaught of AI generated bots and unprotected, copyright issue stuff because of AI. So and plus recently I read an article that we're about to hit a plateau in the next couple of years where AI can't learn anything else from humans. It's done. So I agree with you 100,000%, Dr. Mears. This is, I think, one where you and I are not going to have any disagreements on.
That's a shame.
We'll find one. Let's just find one. We'll make up one. I don't like this. I don't like the color blue your shirt is today.
There you go. Right. Well, I would argue it's not blue. It's more of a, kind of minty sort of heather mint, but yeah. But that's the thing. I want to bring it back to that. With all of this stuff out there, and we're talking about AI, and everybody's saying, oh, it's great. It makes me so efficient as a solopreneur. Yes, absolutely. Efficiency is the hallmark of AI, where you can have all your marketing content generated, posted, it posts itself, it's this, it's that, it automatically likes other people's stuff out there, and it does all of this sort of stuff. But all it really does is just further underscore how your brand is devolving into sameness. And it's already a sea of sameness. It's so hard to stand out. How many freaking podcasts are there? How many beauty, influences are out there? How many flavors of makeup? How many this? How many? There's gazillions of everything, right? 22 million books self-published a year. How do you freaking stand out? Oh, I'm a best-selling author on Amazon. Bull arfing shit, right? Oh, they were on the algorithm. They topped it for a second, right? Because they gamed it. It's such nonsense. And you, as a brand owner, whether you're an entrepreneur or the small business owner, right? You're the disruptor, or you're just really trying to just get revenues up, or whatever you're trying to do, get your services and that out there, provide it. You can't risk devolving into the land of sameness. You need to stand out, whether it's your customer service, because that's part of your brand promise, whether it's whatever it is, because even if you have something that you've created, some unique design, something, it's going to be imitated in 2.5 seconds by an offshore market or by an AI that renders its version of whatever you just created that was so unique.
Right. And I'm glad, because you said there's so much of this out there. So let's dial into some of the so much that is helpful. Okay. I'm not going to say it's bad, because these are small business people too. But at a point, it's not helpful. And that everybody with an iPhone is a photographer. And any photographer out there listening right now knows what I'm talking about. Where suddenly every intern who was an intern for bookkeeping, who was asked to do the graphics for an ad using Canva, is suddenly a graphic designer. There's a guy on social media, on Instagram, and I don't know where else he is. I think he's on TikTok. His name is Justin. I think his last name is Bua, B-U-A. He's a street artist. Originally, but he is a trained artist as well. And his work is impeccable, both in fine arts and street art. And so now he's up there and he's tearing apart the art community by actually going out there and saying, is this really art? Or is this just, a bunch of bricks stacked on a chair? You know what I mean? And he's really challenging now, bringing it back around to challenging what's art. Because why? Because everybody's out there who puts a brick on a chair and says, oh, I'm an artist.
Or tapes a banana to a wall.
Tapes a banana to a wall. There was years ago, maybe 20 years ago, there was a TV show called the Jamie Kennedy Experience or the Jamie Kennedy Experiment or something like that. And he's a comedian, Jamie Kennedy, was in Scream. And there was this one segment that just hit home with me where he's acting like he's setting up. It's kind of like the old candid camera days where everybody thought it was real, and he's shooting everybody. What's their reactions? And he's got like a hammer glued onto a plate, and he's got like something else glued onto a plate, and he's calling it art. And he's like, and he set up this one husband, and I don't want to get too far. And the wife was in on the joke, and she's like ready to pay for this hammer glued on a plate like $10,000 because it's art, and the husband's freaking out. But it just goes to say, like, everybody is a thing now. I'm a content creator, I'm an influencer, I'm a marketing expert. No, either AI is the marketing expert and you're just riding that wave, or it's offshore, and you're doing the bare minimum. It's the bare minimum. Well, people get sucked into that.
Is that, like I said, AI makes you more efficient for sure, right? Like I said, that is the promise of AI, right? There's a lot more stuff and scary and all this and ethics. We can get down, go down that slope. But talking about with respect to marketing as a small business owner. So AI makes you more efficient, but it doesn't necessarily make you more effective. And that's the tip that I want small business owners who are listening to this and entrepreneurs to lock onto with this podcast.
Yeah. And speaking of a podcast, what makes our podcast so special? Absolutely nothing. Honestly, absolutely nothing. We are here because I like to hear myself talk. That's really what it is. If we're going to boil it down, I'm stroking my own ego. Now, how do I use that to my advantage in business? It's just another audience. It's potential audience in the slew of different audiences, areas that I'm building audiences in: YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, website, community membership, all that stuff, speaking engagements, events. I'm building my audience, just one more tool. I'm not a podcaster. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm none of those things, but these are tools that I'm using. And that's what all this is. AI is a tool. At some point, all these influencers out there, especially influencers that actually aren't immersed in the thing they're supposed to be influencing, those folks are a tool, because a small business needs to have multiple channels. Yes, there's an omni-channel format, and I believe in the omni-channel, but I believe it has to be curated. That's the word I'm looking for. Curated. Your channels and your advertising have to be curated. Thoughts, Dr. Mears?
Curation is a key thing. It's all about the adherence to your brand guidelines on everything from tone to color to font. There's that one aspect of curation. Another aspect of curation is, are you creating messages that are aligned not only with the audience who is receiving them, but are they aligned with the format with which the audiences want to receive said message, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a really special part of curation that the AI can't really help you with. You need to have the experience. You need to really understand who your audience is. Using all these different channels, there are different modalities to try to get in front of more audiences. But this is what I think has happened, is that, to your point, that everybody's in everything now, right? I'm a content creator. I am. I'm an author. Yep. Check the box. I'm a podcaster. Yep. Formally ranked. Check. What else am I? Oh, let's see. I'm a nano influencer, right? A micro, depending on, which platform you're talking about. Oh, I'm a this, I'm a that. Well, so is everybody else. And so what do I do that's different? And this is where I am really focused on breaking from the norms and really, like Susan Powter, right? Stop the insanity. And that's because I can't do it anymore, even with the aid of AI, even with the aid of offshore, even with the aid of blah, 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 blah. You can go on and on. I can't peanut butter it anymore. I can't show up on every channel and give something slightly different. I can't do this and I can't do that. And I think business owners, entrepreneurs are driving themselves freaking batshit crazy, trying to be everywhere and be everything to everyone every day. It's
I,
unsustainable.
I agree. And I think too, that's again, we go back to a couple of things that we want entrepreneurs to stop doing and start doing. One of the things is so understanding like, why does Eric and why does the Procurement Com brand need to be everywhere? Because I have a goal in 2031. I want to be I want to be the largest procurement and small business resource event brand and business community in the country with an engagement rate of X. And in 2031, I want to have my first event in Calgary. Okay. I want to break the Canadian border. I have put a big burden on my shoulders to achieve that goal. Right. And I will achieve it. FYI, everybody, we're scaling on time. So why do I need to be across those platforms? Because from my perspective, if I'm trying to achieve a national goal, I'm not going to reach everybody on one channel or two channels. I have to reach more people through multiple channels and multiple methodologies, right? So somebody would say to me, well, Eric, why don't you just go and do one of those things you could get 100,000 subscribers on Instagram, or you could get 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. And, for the guy selling blue widgets, that might be great. But I want a very specifically vetted, tailored audience to my product. So it's not just the product. I'm looking to tailor my audience as well, because I want my people to be engaged. Like to have a My membership, our membership is free. The Deets membership is free. And the question is, well, how do you do that? If you're not engaged after so many emails, you're put to the back of the list and we forget about you. And we'll come back to you later. We're worrying about the people that are 48, 68, 75% engagement rates with our information. They're clicking. Those are the people we're going to cater to. So that's how it works for me. And so you even said something about earlier when we were off the mic about, being disconnected in advice, like the billionaire being disconnected in advice to people. And, that happens to every business. You become disconnected, you get into your own little bubble, and it might not work for some people. So I would say at that point, set your goals, and you have to set your marketing goals too. And you have to figure out how those platforms work for you. And if you want to buy 100,000 bots as followers, are they buyers of your blue widget? It's just a lot to unpack for people. And there's so much out there that buries them in bullshit. I see those ads all the time. I'm sure you scroll them too, right? Oh, we'll tell you the secret on how to.
So I'm cutting you off because that is just absolutely my soapbox. I am so freaking sick of that. Like my whole thing is skip the webinar. I am so tired of waiting 58 minutes, right, to hear what is the secret to building an audience or to, right, exploding to 10x your revenues. And at 58 minutes, the secret is buy my consulting package, buy my coaching package, buy my book, buy my whatever, right? And if you sign and click right here, right now, you'll get 20% off. And I'll throw in this added bonus. I'm so sick of the formula. I can't even tell you. I am losing my mind. If one more freaking business coach, that, I mean, it's shades of charlatan and snake oil salesman, right? Like I can't deal. I am losing my mind. I can't. Anyway, yeah, you've triggered me.
I actually triggered you. Oh my God.
You did. I know. We're only like episode 3 and whoop, you got a trigger.
It wasn't the blue shirt comment. Damn.
No.
Yeah. I mean, look, I agree with, I think that's, and again, I'm going to be pushing my own brand only because what we're talking about is the reason I started the brand. I saw the holes, I saw the problems, and that's what a good entrepreneur does or a good business developer does. They say, here's a problem, what's the solution? Or here's the missing piece, how do I bring that product to the table? Right. So, that was one of the things was, we got our start in the event space because we actually we're rebranding an event production company who were doing DoD government contracting events. And they wanted the full package rebrand, but they didn't want to follow our advice. Now they're out of business. We're not. Just saying.
But Yeah.
But I'm bummed. So, and that was the thing. They were bringing the snake oil salesman, the people selling a book. Oh, I'm so-and-so with 20 years in procurement. And here's my book. Here's my 45-minute class you're getting free. But guess what? All the secrets are in the book for $19.95. You can buy that on my table out in the hallway. And we just thought that was just such crap. That was everything wrong with elevating a business, And that's why we have a no sell rule in our classrooms. People have to walk out with tangible or actionable something. And so, it's hard because the internet is bigger than us, right? And that's our battle as entrepreneurs that we have to face, where we have to say, yeah, those 17 ads you just saw on social media about how this brand is going to build you up and you're going to have 1,000 views in the first minute of your YouTube launch, and
let's get the F out of here. I mean, that's
right.
What that is. Yeah.
Because there are, and again, there's some good people out there that are successful and they've learned to actually take their education and monetize it, give away as they should, sure, and give away some secrets up front at no cost. But there's that harder part too, is like, okay, when the secrets didn't work, because even though I did steps 1 through 10, what was missing? Well, now you have to pay for the answers. And that sort of does bother me, and to a certain degree, because I guess if it wasn't so prolific, it wouldn't bother me.
Right. Here's where I am in all of that. So like so many people, I have taken really good advantage of all the wonderful knowledge that people have put out there. They've done the free YouTube, how to do this. I mean, even from home repair to, how do I boost the SEO of my YouTube or this or that, right? Ton of stuff out there, but it is overwhelming because there is so much of it. And I consume books, like just about one a week or more. I'm a avid reader and I try to learn. What I've gotten better at doing, and I'm still not good enough at, is filtering out what makes sense for me at that time. Like sometimes I've read a book 2-3 years ago. I was like, I don't know, it's not fitting in what I'm doing. But then I'll come back to it now and go, oh yeah, because I'm doing a this and it's telling me a that.
Right.
And that's the kind of thing where you have to look at. So I think you have to be open to continuous learning, because that leads to continuous improvement. And so you've got to do that. But I also think that no matter what you're told, you're still going to have to flounder and fall and make the mistakes. I made the cardinal sin of, the whole build it and they will come. Features, scope creep, right? Tech platform. I bet a chunk of my retirement and mortgaged my home to do it, and it failed.
Right. No, I understand.
I knew, but you have to go through it sometimes, right? To realize the error of your ways. And hopefully you've got people around you who see you start to go down that path and they pull you back. I didn't have that support network. I failed to build that. And so that's why I kept descending down the path.
And that's a good thing to bring up, is that support network, right? Because marketing is also, everybody thinks they're a marketer. Every small business owner thinks they know how to do marketing, right? And that's really it's just so layer one, so basic stuff, which is from the books, from the internet, from this. They're all pretty much delivering a lot of the same messages and same information. They're just regurgitating it. And then suddenly, I'm an expert marketer. Yeah, there's people who, ran their business. They ran a business, not done marketing, but they ran a business for 20 years. And they did all their marketing and they learned over 20 years. Would I call that person a marketer who would come along and market another business based on that 20 years of experience? Absolutely. Because now they're hitting all the beats. They're not just, you have to do email marketing and you have to post on social media every week and that's your marketing, right? But there's a lot of people out there in small business think that's what they are, is marketers, and they're not. They're not. Unless they understand it deeply, and I'm not talking about doing it on the learning curve as they go. They can't run out there and say, I'm a marketer, because there's so much to it and so much data. And even the best marketers aren't alone. They aren't alone. They have the data person, the content person, the designer, the this, the that, the other thing. So I think when it comes to marketing, creating a support structure so that you're not getting roped into here's how you get 1,000 views in 2 seconds, or here's how you get 100,000 followers on your next post, or here my favorite new buzzword, here's how you go viral.
Uh-huh.
We should probably do an episode where we just sit here and we for 45 minutes just say a buzzword, say the definition and why it's bullshit. We could probably get like 50 words in or more.
Exactly. Right. I mean, that's the thing. We've been bought into this. It's like, why? Because we're this instant gratification society. If I put my post out there and I don't get X number of likes within X number of seconds, I lose my mind. Right. Oh, I don't. I'm mocking people who
well, mock away, because those.
But that's a lot of the things. Like, I get small business owners and entrepreneurs come to me and go like, oh my God, like it didn't go viral. Can you help me make it go viral? No. I've worked with some of the best, biggest marketing companies in the world, because I've worked with Fortune 100 companies in senior roles of sales and marketing. And so you get to have access to the best of the best in all these different agencies. And they don't have all of the answers either. They can't guarantee anything's going to go viral or stick. Even some of the best and biggest companies have made big faux pas. Right. I mean, even Pepsi in the height of the George Floyd stuff and with Kendall Jenner, and like there was a tone deaf ad. Yeah. I mean, everybody runs the risk, no matter how good or how big you are. Look at Anheuser-Busch, right? And Bud Light, where they had Dylan, right, as their spokesperson. Bud Light fell out of the top 3 and has lost billions of dollars per year.
And I'm just going to say this. Their Super Bowl ad was not any better when they were trying to capture the suburban white male again. It was a bad ad. I'm just going to say.
I like the little colt that saved the barrel that fell off, right? The keg.
Oh, that's that one. That was Bud's, but the Bud Light one with what was his name? Post Malone.
Oh yeah,
that was just a bad. That was bad.
On the corner of the cul-de-sac, having the party.
Yeah, the cul-de-sac. That did not. That was a tone deaf ad. As far as I'm concerned.
I thought so too. It's but that's the thing. It speaks to the point that as a entrepreneur / small business owner, you're going to make mistakes. The problem is, how much risk appetite do you have? And how much financial runway do you have so that you can absorb that risk, right? So, the examples we point out, like, look, Bud Light, right? They're out of the top 3. They've lost billions. And even though they're a big mega company under Anheuser-Busch, they can't afford to lose that.
No.
Right? Impossible.
But
impossible to recover from.
Here's that thing. All small businesses need to expect to take those losses and take those punches. And if you go into being a small business looking for a magic pill, you're just like just like anybody else looking for the magic pill to solve weight or solve, cancer. There's no magic pill. There's a process, and you have to be prepared for the fails along the way and the risks along the way and the losses along the way. And I think that is like the most understated, or not understated. I think it's said a lot. I think what it is most misunderstood piece of advice small businesses get. They don't understand that creating a sustainable business isn't taking losses and taking risk. Creating a sustainable business is sustainability, that it could go on, but you are going to endure risks and losses along the way through trial and error. No matter how many great mentors you have, you're going to make mistakes. And I think people have to be prepared for that. And, in today's social media, AI-driven environment where everybody's a photographer, artist, influencer, content creator, dancer, what was it? I said something about
blogger, podcaster.
Author, blogger, podcaster, blah, blah, blah. It's funny because Kanani, my digital marketing director, said yesterday, we're turning you into a YouTuber. No, I'm not going to ever be a YouTuber because that's not my home and that's not my business. It's a vehicle to deliver a message. That's all it is. I'm not sitting here stressing if I monetize a video or not because I'm not living or dying by that video. That's not my business. My business is what I have going on, the brand I'm building, the brand that owns the brand. That's my business. And I think people have to realize that as a business owner, they're not the marketers. And when they're out there getting inundated with AI and quick fixes, there's no such thing as viral. not in that sense. You can't magically make viral. Viral happens organically. That's why it's viral. It's organic. It just happens. The first viral video it was a f***ing accident. And people would think,
what's the first one? I'm just
okay. Let me look it up.
We need to fact check there.
Yeah,
but
fact check.
As you're digging into that, it's the whole thing, I think, with the combination of that instant gratification and expectation to just really, despite the plethora of information out there, it's a complete, I don't know, total ignorance in what a lot of people think when they're starting their business. So I do a lot of freebie calls and try to help and shine the light, especially on women.
I found the video on YouTube.
Okay.
It's called, it was posted.
We didn't hear you. You blocked out on that.
Sorry. It's called Numma Numma, N-U-M-A, 2 words. It was posted by Gary Bralsma, B-R-O-L-S-M-A, on April 2nd, 2017. This is considered the first viral video. It's organic.
Huh?
It's a dude on his home webcam, lip syncing.
Wow. It's just crazy. I mean, when I think of that stuff, I think of, Gangnam Style. Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
It's just like ridiculous how popular that was.
Let me see how many views it's gotten to date. 7 years ago, to date, 4.1 million views. It's the webcam video you will ever see. I'll link to it in the description. I'll link it in the description. But yeah, this is officially considered the first viral video. But this is organic.
Right. And I didn't know that was the one, but let me get back to what I was saying about, so trying to help these different small business owners, and they come and they say, oh, I need help. I need a grant. I'm starting a business. I needed that. And I think that they look at me like I have two heads after I finish the call. And then, because I'm trying to support them, and they think, wait, what do you mean? You can't just write a grant for me to start my business and I can have the money next week. It's like, it doesn't work that way.
I'm sorry, because it's true.
No, but I hear it all the time. Like, do you read how hard it is to get grants? Do you see how few grants exist now?
Look, Dr. Mears, that is the advent of social media and the internet. Hey, we'll get you your grant. We'll get you $1 million.
Be a best-selling author. We'll write your book for you. And then what they don't get into is the reality of all of that. And what always stuns me is when I'm having these discovery calls or support calls, or I'm trying to mentor and help people, and I look at them and they say, I can't do that. And they're like, well, can't you just write it for me? I said, I don't have any money. I'm like, well, so 2 things. 1, you're not going to get the money next week. And 2, I'm not free. This is the part. I'm giving you structure and telling you what you need to do to DIY, like the rest of us that are up till 2 a.m. trying to do shit.
Yeah. Well, the life of an entrepreneur, when people really know what it is, they realize when they escape the bounds of the cubicle, they're probably better off in the cubicle for some people.
That's just it. It is. I tell that to young folks who are thinking about, or even some older folks as I mentor them, and they're thinking about, leaving the corporate lifestyle. And I tell them, do you know how easy it is to show up and go to a job?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You got to wake up in the morning. You got to get the dog walked. You got to get the kids ready, pack the lunch, blah, blah, blah. You got to shower. You got to fluff the hair. You got to do the makeup. You get all fluffed, right? All of the rest of that stuff. You got to commute. God forbid, everybody's an on the road and they're all trying to race to work at the same time. And then you're going to get there and you're going to have to deal with the big coworker and the gossipy coworker. And you're going to have to deal with the boss that you can't stand, who's totally toxic, all that stuff. But basically you show up and you get your paycheck. Yeah, you might get laid off. You might get fired once in a while and you go find another one. You do another job. As an entrepreneur, if you're sick, you don't get paid. Okay, maybe you've created one of those packages that sells itself. You can earn money while you're sleeping, right? Yeah, these kinds of things have happened. People have monetized themselves on YouTube and all of this, or they've got a book that's doing really well or whatever else. But for the most part, no. And
yeah, that's not everybody.
No.
And it's not for everybody.
No, you need to have a high appetite for risk. And you need to be comfortable with failure, and you need to be ready to fall down 7 times, but get up 8. I mean, even Mr. Beast, right? massive on YouTube. Plus, he's top 3 in the world with chocolate bar production. His Feastables are in the 7 figures in annual sales. Like he's killing it. But what you don't know is that he spent a year working 18-hour days, dissecting what worked, what didn't work on famous YouTubes, talking to other people, figuring out influencers, how they made it, what they did, and coming up with something that was formulaic for him and his brand to align to what could work.
Right.
And worked his ass off to get there.
Yeah. I mean, nobody tends to see what's behind the curtain, right? It's the Wizard of Oz thing. You see the big wizard, but you never see all the mechanics behind what's happening. Which I'm going to circle this back around as we get this episode to a close, to where we started with this is, how do you, getting out there and marketing your brand. So from both of our platforms, from both of our perspectives, yes, you know what? Put your brand out there and own every platform with your brand name. Absolutely. Make it a point to find the platforms, 1 or 2 platforms that have the audience that you want. And by the way, these platforms, when you're in there, there is data there you can get directly from the platforms, as well as there's tons of free information on the internet. Hence, AI can pull a lot of it down for you, and find out what that is and create the content that represents your brand or your product, your service, whatever it's going to be, and post to that audience on that platform. And then just stop buying into the I'll get you 1,000 followers, or I'm an influencer and I can get you 1 million views. Bottom line is none of those, when you really come down to it, none of those are an absolute way to trigger sales. None. Now, again, if you're selling blue widgets, maybe if you have 1 million followers, you could sell, 1 million blue widgets. Good for you. But the reality is that you should have a diverse platform of outreach. And then most of all, talk to humans. Get out there and network, do events, do street shows, whatever it is your brand is. Be in the public eye, because no matter what happens, no matter how much technology, and it makes it easier to buy online or sell online, people love the human experience. They want it, unless they're aggravated.
So where I see and hear all of this, it is really about your brand promise, who you are, what you want to be. And you don't need to listen to everybody who tells you need to be an author and a podcaster and a this and be on every platform. You don't have to. You have to find the mix that's right for you, for your brand promise, for the resources you have available to you, and for what your audience expects from you, so you can convert to sales, because that is the whole point. And all that nonsense out there, it's shite, where it says like, oh yeah, I grew overnight to 100,000 followers and da-da-da. Well, how many of them are buying your stuff? Probably not a lot. And all of these stories, oh, bros and Lambos, it's such nonsense. Things don't happen overnight like that. A few people, yes, they do catch lightning in a bottle. They go viral, they grow, they can build multi-million-dollar brands. But that's not for most of us mere mortals as entrepreneurs. And there are going to be a lot of dark days where you realize and go, wow, I'm doing all the marketing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, right? The panic, all of this, the hyperventilating, all the rest of this stuff, and you're still not getting it done. So you need to pull back and say, what do I really need to do? Where can I connect best with my audience? What resources do I have available to me? And filter out all the crap that says everybody's been mega successful. I'm going to leave you with 2 examples before we break for the end of the show. Example 1, I remember at the start of the pandemic, right? 5 years ago from today that we're recording, where the world shut down, right? It was like, oh, COVID, what's this? Right? And Eric Yoon, the CEO of Zoom, he went from 400,000 users and subscribers to something like 300 million within the span of a week. And I remember him being interviewed and they said, Eric, what's it feel like to be an overnight success? And he said, longest 10 years of my life. Right? But bump, right? And so you got to think about that. And on my days when I have and I'm thinking, oh my God, this happened, this didn't happen, this shouldn't happen. Oh, I got this to-do list, I got this, I got that. And I get into my squirrel spin, and to stop the squirrel, what I'll do is I love this clip. I love Chapel Roan. I think she's amazing. She's brilliant. Yes, there are even things that she's learned from. You can see that there's influences from other songs where you go, that's pretty close, right, to this or that. But again, it's how you package it and put it differently. So you can learn these bits and pieces, but also recognize that you've got to stick to it. You need that tenacity, even though you've got all the marketing, because it takes time. I watch her clip where she's singing Pink Pony Club 10 years ago in front of 4 people. 2 of them are her grandparents in the park. People are feeding the birds. She's on the keyboard. She's not decked out in her, her look and all of her style. She hasn't evolved into that yet. And she's like, Pink Pony Club, nobody's listening. Nobody cares. Fast forward to last year, which was 10 years later. She's at Lollapalooza, and the biggest afternoon audience they've ever had of over 110,000 people, where the crowd is singing her lyrics and she's just holding the mic. So it can happen, but it takes time. Don't
long game,
right?
Long game.
It's a marathon, people.
Yeah, play the long game. And with that, folks, so once again, Dr. Mears, thank you for your insights. And our next episode is going to be Shitty Business Stories by Dr. Mears and Eric Vincent. We'll check you out, and we are out of here.
I know you know I see you smiling at me.